Hey everybody.
Good evening.
Welcome to the most amazing night of the world. Live stream night. Yeah, I know you're waiting for some kind of catchphrase.
I know, I was like, what
that's
is
all I
he
had.
saying?
I'm sorry. All right, so we have our lovely co-host tonight. We have Ashley.
Hello.
Ashley. We have beautiful Hannah.
Hello.
What'd you work on today, Hannah?
Making earrings.
Yeah.
She made some earrings. Cool. A couple of my sons and I worked on our deck today, redoing some deck stuff.
Yep.
What'd you do today?
I cleaned out the fridge and freezer and what else? I don't know. Worked on stuff.
worked on
Beautiful.
stuff.
I don't know.
All right,
Too much
so
stuff.
we have our friend Chillin' Penguin Army, who's almost always the first in the house. Reliable prepper. Howdy to you. TJF, Trilobe, 5x5, 5x5, we're good to go. Redfish, Texas, hello.
Good evening.
Marissa, B-Heck, 1216 from Arkansas. Hey, Kenny. G. Drake from Springfield. Karen from Wisconsin. Our friend Phil in the house. Dumpster Ahoy. Hello, Dumpster Ahoy. Warren, good to see you. Storm Chasing Gal. Yeah, everybody's looking good here. Storm Chasing Gal says, Happy Mother's Day, Ashley.
Oh, thank you.
And Happy Mother's Day
Oh,
to
yes.
all the
Happy
mothers
Mother's Day out there. Sorry.
You got to reciprocate.
I'm sorry, though. I need more coffee.
Okay, don't start yelling,
but
please.
It's too late.
Ashley, don't yell. It's really loud. You're blasting the microphone.
Sorry, folks.
We have John, hello. We have 3%er, good to see you. Renee from Kansas. Squeaky Melissa. Just apply some oil, you won't be so squeaky, Melissa. We have Karen, MDMD, hello. And now it's going so fast I can't keep up. So, hello and greetings to everybody in the house tonight.
Yes.
We will be just kind of talking about prepping type stuff, and we'll also be answering questions.
Yes.
So if you have any questions, Hannah, did you already put yours up there?
Yeah.
Yes.
So That Creative Bug, if you put it at That Creative Bug, or if you put at Goshen Prepping, which literally means if you type the at symbol, start typing like Goshen, hit GOS, GOS, you'll see a little thing, just pop up and click it. Same thing with Hannah with That Creative Bug. Yep. But obviously we want to answer as many questions as we possibly can this evening. And we try not to skip any questions as we go through. So it's a beautiful evening. It was a nice day here in Michigan to work outside.
It was gorgeous.
Low 70s, I think it was.
Yeah, windows were all open. Doors were open.
It was a good day. And I had sun beating on me,
Yes.
which...
You got a little bit sunburn on
Did
your
I?
neck. Yeah.
So here's the thing. Getting a little sunburn, there's a direct correlation between seed oils and getting sunburn. And it's amazing how seed oils were not a prevalent role in the diet in America. And then suddenly they start popping up, and suddenly you need sunblock.
Yep.
And guess what? One of the main ingredients is sunblock.
It's oils.
Seed oils.
Yeah.
That's called irony.
There's a question
All
further
right.
up.
Our first question. All right, you're up to questions tonight, Hannah.
Yes. A Chillin' Penguin Army. When going through nutrition facts on the back of items, what's the highest the carb and sugar levels should be before putting them back in the shelf?
Okay, so the question is, when you're reading the back of ingredients, here I have some Planters peanuts, and when you're reading it, what's the highest carbs you will eat? It also has to do with fiber, by the way. But for me personally, I try to choose things that have no carbs at all. I don't do artificial sweeteners either, by the way. That's a really bad thing. It messes with my brain big time.
Yeah, it does.
But peanuts do have some carbs. This is sitting here, by the way. This is my go-to snack. If I feel a little hungry or feel like a little bit out of energy, I'll just pop one of these little bags open. This says it has 5 grams, but there's 2 grams of fiber. So ultimately, this only has 1 gram of carbs per bag. That's not bad. We try to go for 0. If personally I see anything that starts going over 5 grams, actually has 5 grams, I start shying away and not having it. What about you, Ash?
Yeah. I do eat a little bit more carbs just because I'm nursing, but I try to stay pretty low too.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it's up to you. If you're looking at keto, we were on what they call dirty keto for a long time. We thought we were eating keto, and we lost weight, but we noticed we didn't lose tons of weight, and we realized, oh, there's a lot of carbs and stuff that we didn't realize.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of practice in finding all the carbs.
A couple people asked if we saw the northern lights, and we did. We spent like an hour outside on the deck, and then the clouds came in and we couldn't see it. So
yeah, and that's one of the things too is we tried to watch it more. I mean, we're waiting for the sun to go down, and as soon as the sun was going down, it was setting. I went out and I could see the northern lights, but barely. They weren't really glowing or so much. But over the next hour and a half maybe, it really came out. But then cloud cover hit, and we were after that. But you know what? Up here in Michigan, we've been wanting to see the northern lights for the longest time, and every time they'd come around, it was cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first time we've been able to see it, which was just a fantastic thing. I see a super chat from Hey You for $5. Thank you, Hey You. Hello, fam. I got some bleach crystals because I heard they don't expire like liquid, but there's an expiration date on the bottle. Yeah, isn't that funny? Can they be ignored? The thing is, when it comes to bleach, liquid, the biggest thing was liquid. It does break down, especially if you have it in the sun. I don't think the bleach crystals do. But I'm telling you right now, I don't think they do. I can't 100% be for certain, but I'm pretty sure you're going to be okay with that. I don't know. We might have to research
I
ourselves
don't
a little
know.
bit.
I have some then too that I need to use up if that's the case. I don't use bleach a lot, so.
Bleach crystals.
Oh, what a crystal. Bleach crystals.
Yeah, it's the crystal form bleach. It's not the bleach like in the container.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh, never mind then.
From Dr. W. Should I add anything to water in long storage containers? Yeah, I would add bleach. A good rule is 6 drops per gallon of water, but it has to be unscented, non-gel bleach. But the bleach concentrations have changed now. They used to be forever always the same concentration, but now they've changed. And so, but if you go with 6, you'll be good to go. All right, good questions. Great questions. Let's see.
There's one.
Here's a great from Andrea. Is that the one you see, Hannah?
I believe so. Yes.
All right. If you have adult children who study or live further away than a gas tank away, how do you communicate, prepare, and get them home? That's a great question. And I'll tell you right now, don't be fooled about the gas tank away. So let's say they have a car and it gets, easily 300 miles on a tank of gas, and they live 270 miles away. You're like, okay, good. That's still not good enough because the traffic going through will
Be
lead
bumper
them
to
dry.
bumper,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. So I would always recommend having at least twice as much gasoline, so have some gas cans in there. But as far as communications out there, I'm sorry, there's not a whole lot you can do. Because if we're talking about total crap in the fan, maybe it's an EMP or CME, et cetera, there's not going to be any cell phone service. And if it is an EMP CME, you're not going to have a satellite phone either. That's not going to work either. So you can possibly have
A meetup.
ham radios. Oh yeah, meet up at certain times. That's what we used to
Yeah.
do with friends when we had friends. We would always say, when we lived in the city, we would say, we actually had a meetup place. It was an hour and a half outside the city, a very specific location that was easy for us to know or remember to get to. That would be something to look at as well. Even with ham radios, you can have repeaters on them, but I don't know how many ham radio operators will still be functioning because if the grid's down, a lot of them probably don't. A lot of them don't have backup batteries. I know some of them do. It's a tough one, Andrea. You just have to try to make arrangements ahead of time, and if it's more than the gas tank away, I mean, what I tell my family is, let's say, like Ashley was just in Pennsylvania
I was.
seeing a friend, and I was like, you have to understand. I know this sounds really cold, but if crap hits the fan, I cannot come out and get you. And the reason being is I have a whole house full of kids here
Yeah.
that I have to watch out for, and I can't leave them to head toward
You
Pennsylvania.
can't rescue me. I have to make it on my own. And I do take the risk when I traveled, knowing that I've done a few trips on my own recently or with one of our children. And I'm like, well, I have everything ready if I need to get back. So,
Well, the biggest thing is what I always teach my family, including Ashley too, is the art of situational awareness, the art of blending in, gray man. That's the kind of thing that we
Yeah.
do. So it's not like she's going to be like left out in the cold per se. It'll be rough, but you have to stay in the shadows or go with the flow of the crowd
yeah.
the whole way back. Let's see. How do you convince your family members to prep when they don't believe you or take you seriously? Adam, I actually just made a video about this. This was literally why I made this video, and I wish I could remember the name of it. If I actually were a better channel, I'd have that name memorized. But let me see real quick. I'm bringing up my video list, and
I don't know. It's still loading.
let's see. Yes, right there. It's just a few days ago. It's called, the picture says perish or survive. It's up to you. And literally the title is,
Here, I can link it in there.
thank you, I was about to do that too. You're good. It says, finally, an answer to those who don't prep. So that's why I made that video, because I'm asked that all the time, constantly. What do we do about family members? Have them watch this video, because it talks about specifically, I don't know, it's a really good, I made it purposely for people to hand out to their families. Let's see. We saw the Northern Lights.
Yep.
Oops, sorry, I just saw that.
2 down. Wait, no, not 2 down. Danny says, "What is an affordable beginner solar generator?"
What is an affordable beginner solar generator? Okay, so let me tell you the skinny about solar generators. I'm certainly not saying they're all the same. They're not. However, price pound for pound, the solar generators, I find most of them are actually relatively speaking around a certain amount, depending on what you're looking for. Instead of actually telling you what's a good one to start with, I would ask you, what are you looking for? Because I own a few solar generators. Like, for example, I have one called the Ocatel. And Ocatel, the agreement was like, oh my gosh,
It's like a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago. They said they wanted to send me their little Ocatel solar generator. And I said, well, I'll only do this if you make it so I get one, and then I'll do a drawing on the channel, and somebody else will get one also. And I was amazed how many people did not sign up for the drawing.
Yeah, it was really sad.
I was like, guys, this is a possible free solar generator. I am grateful the person who won it.
Yes.
We're like, even like a year later, they're like, I still love this thing. It's great. In fact, Ocatel, we have a new one we're going to be showing you pretty soon. But it comes down to this. It's really simple. The small Ocatel solar generator I showed is great for things like your cell phone.
Or a small fan.
A small fan.
Yeah.
Maybe your laptop for a few hours. It wasn't made for, definitely not a freezer.
Yeah.
Certainly not an air conditioning or anything else. But then we step up, and I've shown on the channel so far like the Blue 80 AC200 Max and the AC240. That thing, as I showed in the video, if you watch the Blue 80 video, the recent one I just did, it will run your freezer indefinitely. It'll never stop. In fact, it had enough power, it could probably run 3 freezers indefinitely.
Yeah.
It's the unit.
Yeah. It was pretty cool.
But if you want to compare the bigger Ocatel with the Mango series, with the Blue Eddy, with the EcoFlow, etc., price-wise, they're all actually pretty comparable. It really is what you want.
Yeah,
you need to figure out what you want. Do you want the solar panels with it? I mean, hopefully if you want a solar generator, you probably want some solar panels with it. I don't say that facetiously, but like I know my Blue Eddy works as also a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply on my computer system. Like right here, I'm on my laptop. But when I'm on my big computer system editing videos, for example, and we get power glitch, which happens here quite often, it'll shut down my whole computer.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I have my entire computer system, including her laptop and Naomi's laptop and other stuff too, a whole bunch of stuff, all plugged in the Blue Eddy. Then the Blue Eddy is plugged into the power, and that way if the power goes down, the Blue Eddy will run like that for
a while.
We're talking about a couple days.
Yeah.
It's incredible
It
what
does
it'll
well.
do. So it really depends on what you want. And then also too, I know that's not a beginner one, but also like the Mango series systems I have are not a introductory one either. But those will run our entire home, including our water pump.
I mean, like I would like to have running water. I've been many weeks without running water, and it's really hard with a large family. So if there's certain things that you can go, I would go with the bigger one. But if you need just minimal things, then you can do the smaller. So it depends on, I guess, how much you put into it.
It depends what you need it for. I see a question here. There may be other ones, Hannah, so I don't want to jump ahead of you. Gray Woman 79. Hi, Gray Woman. Always good to see you. Anybody here in the chat? I guess I'm in the chat. Know where you can find the older type of jerry cans, the nanny cans that don't have, the cans that don't have the nanny spouts.
Is that the gas cans?
I rip them out.
Yeah.
When I get a gas can and it has that little nanny spout so it doesn't leak everywhere, I just take a pair of pliers, and I don't. If there are certain cans, I keep them on there. Certain cans I don't. I just take those pliers and I rip them out. That's what I do.
George says, are the larger freeze dryers more energy efficient than the medium or smaller ones by volume?
I don't think
I don't
so.
think they
So
are.
if you didn't hear the question, are the larger freeze dryers more energy efficient compared to the smaller ones? I don't think so. I think it's simply just a larger payload that you could put in there. I mean, if it is, I'm speculating here because I have looked at the different units. I think the difference is going to be practically negligible. Because I'll be honest with you, the freeze dryer definitely takes some power. It's not.
Yeah, it does.
It is not a super energy efficient machine.
No.
It's an amazing machine. And we're going to be starting freeze drying stuff again on the channel
Yes.
pretty soon.
We were just discussing that this other
But I don't
day.
think the new ones, the biggest thing is you have more room. I think that's the only practical benefit to having the larger freeze dryer. Because if we're going to go through a cycle and the cycle lasts 24 hours, you're going to have an extra pan that you can put in there, which is nice.
That's true.
Love My Peeps says, the Geiger counter you have, does it need to be calibrated? I have the same one.
Oh yeah, great Geiger counter, isn't it? Love My Peeps. No, it doesn't need to be calibrated. You can calibrate it, but I'll be honest with you. What we need it for as preppers, the calibration, even if it's actually off just a little bit, it'll still be more than accurate enough for what you need it for. There's another channel which I will not name the channel and try to trash them or anything, but they were trying to say that the Geiger counters that we have were not very good.
No, he didn't.
Instead, you need to buy a really super expensive scintillator, which ironically they sold it on their channel. We're trying to sell it. And it is true, the scintillator has a much better range. That's all there is to it. The Geiger counter I promote all the time, they don't sponsor me at all. It's just a fantastic unit.
We're just happy with the product.
When you get it on sale, it's less than $100. When I looked at the scintillator, they wanted $650 for it. But they actually, I've seen them come down all the way down to $450 now. But on the same note, if you're talking about wanting to know some massive areas for radiation, the scintillator will do it. The small Geiger counters that we have will not tell you. It'll overload. But the thing is, here's the thing. If you have your Geiger counter and you're like, it's going to make the old noise. That's my best I can do. I apologize. It hits overload. You're not in an area you want to be. That's what it comes down to. So turn it off and reset it. Go to a different part of your basement or your house. Turn it back on. And that's your best bet, because I like buying things frugally. I'd rather spend $100 on my Geiger counter because it's good enough for what we need it for, and use the other $550 I saved on other preps. That's me though. But anyways, long story short, it does not need to be calibrated.
Purchased an EcoFlow Wave 2 yesterday after your presentation.
Oh, great.
Should work well with my Delta 2 Plus Max
Yes, it will.
battery. Mm-hmm. What is your opinion on the usability and quality?
Fantastic. And so, listen, there's been things, it hasn't been anything recent. I think like a few years ago, we modeled a wood chipper. Remember that?
I don't think it's even on the channel.
No, it's not even on the
we
channel
took it
anymore.
off.
Yeah.
We were very dissatisfied. We liked it, but it did not
It
last
didn't
long.
last long at all.
It crapped out really quick, and that was very disheartening. So,
but the AC200 Max, my brain's not working already. The Wave 2, along with the EcoFlow systems, the Delta 2 Max, they're top notch. And here's the thing, ready? Every time I talk about a solar generator, oh look at the Mango series. I heard countless people saying you should check out the EcoFlow.
yeah, there was a lot of people.
I was like, oh, EcoFlow, okay. I took a mental note. Look at my Bluetti system. Comment after comment, you should check out the EcoFlow.
So
I mean, it was
checked it
all the time. So yeah, so I was like, all right, time to give it a whirl. And so we got the air conditioner heater unit, which the Wave 1, by the way, just didn't have the built-in heater. It was just an air conditioner. When we lived on our sailboat, we had a portable air conditioner.
We did.
But it was plug-in only.
Yeah.
And honestly, it needed recharge. We would sweat some days.
Yeah, it was pretty crappy.
But this one it's amazing. It blows my mind that not only does it work well, but it's battery powered, and that's without even using a solar generator.
Yeah.
But if you have the Delta 2 Max to go with it, you are set.
You are.
Hopefully, you have the solar panels to go with the Delta 2 Max, because it can do very well for you. I know some people who literally have that configuration, and they can use that air conditioner practically indefinitely, because the solar power keeps it going. Anyway, so it's honestly every single thing I've seen about EcoFlow, top notch. I say the same thing about Bluetti and the Mango series too. And the Ocatel from a long time ago also. Have I seen that for all the solar generators I've modeled? No, but you won't see those on the channel anymore. I have
There's a few that we've
I have a Ford Patriot solar generator, crapped out. I don't talk about it on the channel. Don't show it at all anymore.
Yeah, it was.
I have one called a Snug Max. The Snug Max, I think, went out of business, but it was a small one too. We actually used it for about a year, and it finally just crapped out too. So I got a year's worth out of it. So anyway,
and it depends on what you use it for too. Like I was using something the other day and it didn't work, so I was pretty bummed.
All right, from Dana's Let's Prep, Dana Let's Prep. Did you see that one, Hannah?
Yeah, that's what she
I
had.
had highlighted.
If you need just a little more gasoline but can't get it, will gas fuel stabilizer help? And if so, how much? It will not help. No, it's not. It's actually not an octane booster. That's what you were looking at, by the way. If you want to add something to it to help out a little bit, is octane booster or some pure green alcohol, etc. That's a different story. You know, it's amazing, and it'll blow your mind that we can make our own gasoline, that you'll never actually have to go to a gas station again ever. But the federal government clamps down on this. They don't want us to be able to do this.
Nothing is free.
Will Ashley be doing a much-needed tutorial on canning vegetables? Please.
Probably this fall.
We'll see. Probably. I don't know.
Probably.
It's hard to say.
How about this? If you are, it will be this fall.
Yes, it will be this fall.
Because
our house gets way too
we
hot
don't
in the
do
summer.
we do not do a lot of canning during the summertime.
No, it is way too hot in the house. We have
And
no AC, and it gets so hot in the summer.
And even our freeze dryer, we had it on this main level during the wintertime. It was loud. It's loud-ish. You don't want to hear it all the time. It's not like blazing loud. But it also warmed your house up too.
Yeah, it did.
And so it lives in the basement now.
Yeah.
With all the spiders. Let's see.
7 says, I heard you say a few times that you love your Katadyn pocket.
Oh,
Katadyn
yes.
pocket water filter.
I do indeed.
Do you also use the purifier attachment or don't bother?
I personally don't bother. Now, the biggest thing is when
Is that the blue filter we have? The pump? Is that the Katadyn?
Yeah, but it's black.
Is it black?
Uh-huh.
Okay. No. I don't know. We have so many different things. I don't know.
No, long story short, I don't use the purifier. I don't bother. Honestly, we don't use it very often though, because it's just it's funny because we have the Katadyn heavy duty metal amazing one, which again we literally have gotten water from mud puddles with it.
Oh, it's
it works
black
that well. But we also have a small backpacking one that we take with us when we go backpacking.
That's probably what I'm thinking.
And it's a little bit smaller unit. Man, I'll tell you though, when I first heard about Katadyn, because look, I'm all about water filters. I've never been a fan of Life Straw. I'm not knocking them.
No, it's just not your favorite.
I have a Life Straw. Like, here's my water bottle, guys. Don't knock me. But I have a Life Straw bottle like this, and there's actually a straw in here. But there's actually what it is. You take the
filter.
bottle, you scoop up pond water, and it has the Life Straw in there. That's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. But any type of Life Straw or knockoff Life Straws, the biggest thing is if you don't have it, you can scoop where you can drink it like out of a scooper. I'm not going to put my face.
He
in
doesn't
water.
want to lay next to a puddle drinking out of a puddle.
Because here's the thing, you ready? If you need to drink water because you're thirsty, you know that laying there, you're going to be like, I cannot quench my thirst after you lay next to a pond. Usually inverted too, by the way. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
totally true.
That's just me, though.
George says, has anything happened due to the solar storms? Anything serious?
Anything serious happened with the solar storms? No, they have not. And even when I put out the video, kind of like warning about it, I said, guys, two things. The biggest thing in the videos I put out about it was not so much the solar storms, even though that was there too. I said, guys, if you want to, I even said, if you want to play on the safe side, put your stuff in your Faraday cage. Probably not even necessary, but we're preppers. That's what we do. But the second thing is, I also want to show the progression, and it's actually amazing because we saw a launch from almost an X6 flare, and I predicted that not on the channel. But I said, wow, look at the trends here, Ashley. Look at this.
Yeah.
I bet you anything about this time tomorrow-ish, we're going to have a bigger one. And sure enough, it was almost an X6.
Yeah, my phone crapped out for like a long time. It was bad. And there's a couple other people that I know too that they said they couldn't use their phones either, so it was affecting.
Yeah.
PJ says, how much solar energy does it take to run a deep well pump?
That it depends on if your pump. Well, you said it's deep. More than likely, your deep well pump is 240 instead of 110, or 120. But the thing is, I'm going to be honest with you, it takes a lot of power. It takes a lot. So it's really simple. You probably have a submersible. Even if it doesn't, I take that back. Even if you have a well head, because our other well has a well head on it, look at the wattage on the pump. That's what you have to look at. It'll tell you exactly how many horsepower it is, how many watts to draw for it. And more than likely, you have a 240 because I have 2 breakers for mine. Long story short, a lot. I don't have an exact number for you. I forgot what mine is actually at. But I know ours does draw a lot of power.
With the new one or old one?
Oh, the new one's definitely far more efficient.
Oh,
but it
okay.
still draws quite a bit of power.
No, it does.
Yeah, and one of our kids, our other daughter, Naomi, made them a mud kitchen. And it's the coolest thing in the world. And so there's actually a big mud puddle. And they literally turn on the water and just have this huge, awesome mud. They actually found some pipes, too. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's so cool.
They were making up quite a contraption earlier.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Wait, they found pipes and put it in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, they found these pipes. Who knows where they found them?
I don't know where they found
And they're
them.
hooking those up to the pipes and just spraying water everywhere.
Yeah, they're being very creative.
They're being boys,
They
that's
are.
what they do. And but the thing is, as they're doing it, she's like, should we shut it off? Because they kind of just left it on for a little bit. I said, she's like, they're wasting water. I was like, there's no wasting water. It doesn't really work that way. That water they're using goes back into the aquifer below the ground. Now they're wasting electricity. That's a different story. And that's something we'd have to look at. All right, let's see.
We got a super chat.
Yes, sorry.
from DR.
Dr. W.
Oh, really?
Dr. W. Gave
At
us a
least I
super
think
chat.
DR and then space.
Yes, it's Dr. W.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. W. You know what? I forgot to do the applause for this. Ready? It's
know
on
which
here.
button
Okay.
it is.
I'm looking at the buttons. I really want to be more proficient at this. So, and Dr. W, and also for Hey You for the super chat.
Hopefully that was something.
It's still going
plugged
now.
in,
There we
right?
go. Yeah, exactly. If I had headphones on, I'd be able to hear to see what's actually coming through.
Dr. W.
But
just
Dr.
says-
W says, for $5, thank you very much, Dr. W. Every little bit counts. I just want you to know how much I appreciate all you do. Thank you. And honestly, that's worth its weight in gold right there. You know, one of the things that if you get the newsletter, I talked about, I said, if I put a video on YouTube, I'll have 30,000 people watch it. And it's funny because we'll go to we haven't gone to a baseball game in forever, but we'll go to a baseball game. And I'm like, Ashley, look at the concept here. They said, today's attendance is 22,000 people. And you look around, and I was like, we have more people watch our video on a daily basis.
know.
And it's like weird when you think of it that way.
is
There's a lot of
weird.
people.
It is weird.
But the thing is, if I want to look at other platforms like Rumble, it would be like 32. And I'm like, I really can't put the time and energy into it for 32 people to watch it. And somebody commented, by the way, and they're like, oh, even if you have 32 people, you should still make it for them. I'm like, yeah, ifs and nuts or candies and butts or whatever. How's that little?
I don't know that
I
saying.
appreciate that, but you're asking me to put all this time and energy in it, and
Yeah.
probably anybody's watching it.
No cuts, no coconuts? Is that what
I don't know.
No.
There's like some kind of weird thing there.
I don't know. It's a saying he said before, but I don't remember it.
I
Let's
have
see.
no clue what he's trying to go for.
Somebody else said they're like
a
their
Chillin'
eco
Penguin
flow.
Army says, do you see the conflict in the Middle East escalating on U.S. soil?
I do believe the conflict in the Middle East will escalate on U.S. soil. I do. At the very minimum, at the very least, I truly believe we have sleeper cells who are going to wake up and take action. I think they're just biding their time. Just like we saw the initial attack in Israel, I think we're going to see the initial kind of attack like that here in the U.S. I believe that's what's coming, unfortunately. And the thing is, it's spreading. You know, we're seeing multiple other countries getting into play now. Egypt's into it.
Mm-hmm.
And the U.S. with good old Joe is going to start abandoning Israel with these things. It's definitely a really bad thing.
Oh, there's a different question that mentioned, I think may have lost it in the comments. It says, what are your thoughts on that, of Joe abandoning?
Oh,
Joe
yeah.
abandoning Israel.
Listen, I'll tell you right now. When you look at Jewish people, the majority of them vote liberal, Democrat, and Joe wants those votes. And if it weren't for those votes, he would have dropped Israel from the very beginning. I believe that's what's happening. And so I think that's the situation, is he really couldn't care less about Israel at all, not in the least little bit, and would drop him like a bad habit if it weren't for a huge Jewish population who would vote for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I think is happening anyway.
Scott says, I believe you said you were storing foods that are keto. Can you tell us how you do that affordably?
Oh, affordably.
Affordably. Keto is not affordably. Oh, we'll show you the peanuts that we have. We
Yeah.
got them at a clearance a clearance thing.
Yeah, so, all right, so
Good thing I had 2 bags.
our plan is this. I'll be completely transparent with you. We have some food stockpiled. I never divulge how much we have or what we have. And those channels I tell you that show you their stockpiles and everything, I'm like,
We only have
What's-
2 cans of tuna.
what's wrong with
No, you told them, man. It was
2 per
corned beef
person.
hash.
Yeah, corned beef
Jeez,
hash.
now they know we have tuna.
corned beef hash isn't keto. Corned beef hash isn't keto.
I know it's not.
All right. Anyway, we have plan A, depending on how long crap is hitting the fan, where we can stay on keto for X amount of time.
Yes.
Then we also have plan B, where, darn it,
We're eating the
this
corned beef hash.
crap at the fan has taken a lot longer than I thought it was, and now we have the contingency.
Yes,
plan.
and then
That's-
we have plan C.
Right, plan C of burning the house down and running.
Eating the deer in the yard. No,
Oh, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, so we do
we
have
do
that,
have
by the way.
certain plans.
We have chickens, and we do have rounds for deer who like to visit our
And
house, and
turkeys.
turkey.
Cats.
Lots of turkey here.
We're not eating those cats.
But we have a lot of things like peanuts. There's a store here. There's a few stores like this, by the way, in our area. One is called L&W. I shouldn't tell you the name because you'll get all the good stuff there. But they have, I don't know if it's factory clothes. I don't know where they got them. But they literally have these packs of peanuts, which I buy them anyway.
Yeah, we
They
do.
sell these at Sam's Club. And it was like $9 for a small box that has like maybe 30 in there.
Yeah.
Something like
I
that.
don't know, something like that.
But we went to this place, L&W,
They
and they had
50.
cases of them.
50.
Cases for like $6.
Yeah, it was $5.99 for 50 packs of peanuts, and they're great. And I know somebody on one of our followers said that peanuts are poison. So I'm sure
Really?
they're saying that we're eating poison, but I'm sure there's something you're
Why
eating
are
that's
peanuts
poisonous.
poison? They're not seeds.
I don't know.
They're not seed oils.
He hates peanuts. Maybe he's allergic to them, and they think
Oh yeah, maybe poison for you.
yeah, maybe they are poison for you.
I don't know.
If that's the case, stay away from them. But for keto people, peanuts are a friend.
Yeah. And then again, I'll say it again. For me,
Yeah, exactly.
it's the perfect thing because
Whispering Pine says they love that store. They go weekly. Ooh, you're taking our stuff.
Whispering Pines.
Yeah, that's what
really?
they said. I go weekly. Ooh.
I didn't realize we had more local people.
I
here.
didn't know you were locally.
Unless
I
there's
always
another
try.
L&W
Oh, could be.
Oh, that could be another
I doubt
LMW.
it. I doubt
I
it.
always try to go on Thursday, and they're always closed. It's ridiculous. I literally have gone there 3 times,
How
and I'm
dare
like,
them.
oh, it's closed. Such a weird day of the week, Thursday.
You're welcome, Gray One, about ripping the spout out.
Puddin says, I want to increase my omega-3 intake, but hate fish and canned minnows. What is a non-fish omega-3 I can take that I can put in my preps?
Ooh,
Yeah,
canned minnows. Is that sardines?
Yeah.
Oh, really? They're called minnow? They're
They're,
minnows?
they're basically small fish.
Aw, that makes me sad now. I like minnows.
You can, now I will tell you, you can just take the omega-3 capsules. And it's really so funny that I put that video out. The 3, ready for this? I'm going to use the word, foods to stockpile, 3 foods. And people are up in their arms and saying, oh my gosh, why didn't you talk about, scurvy?
Oh.
And I was like,
Because
well, that's just one disease. I mean, you can actually, electrolytes are actually more important than that. And there's a whole, because I've talked about the foods. But I will be honest with you. Those are the 3 foods, but you can't get by with just 3 foods. There's also supplements. And so we have, like with our 2 cans of tuna we have stockpiled, we also have a bottle of vitamins too.
Yes.
I say that facetiously. I put out an entire video about supplements. In fact, I put it in the newsletter. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. But when it comes to having additional stuff like vitamins and stuff, it's a very serious thing. You got to make sure you have that stuff. So anyways, I don't take any more omega-3s as far as fish oil pills. I used to for the longest time.
I can't. I just burp them up all day.
That's the best part.
No, it's not.
You get like
It's
fish
disgusting.
burps.
Whoa.
But instead, I just try to eat my fish. I just try to eat
We
the
do.
fish.
We eat fish
At least a couple
twi-
times a
Yeah, at least
I don't
2,
get
sometimes 3.
Hi, Naomi.
I'm not familiar.
Not quite sure what this means, so hopefully you'll understand it. Susan says, have you ever tried coconut aminos on your food?
Coconut aminos?
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
tried a coconut amino. I don't even
No.
know. I mean, we
I don't-
use coconut in a lot of stuff, but I don't know what a coconut amino is.
I've had
never-
coconut before.
I don't think
I don't
that's
know.
what she meant. Like, I use coconut oil for, like, a huge
So-
portion of it.
You know, I have my phone. Guys, my phone's been stupid. Oh, that was
Why
creepy
don't we
fun.
have AC? Because we lived in Florida for a really long time and lived on AC. And then we decided to move somewhere that we didn't need AC, so we don't have AC.
The
We
house
like
just
to
doesn't
rough
have
it.
AC.
We're preppers, okay? We live it.
It's
Ask
because-
my parents.
It's because we bought a house without AC.
Yes, no, that is true.
And by the way, somebody asked if I was going to read the question. Somebody asked, "Have you considered possibly get like an AC split, or like a split system?" We thought about it,
Yeah.
but for us up here in Michigan, we're only talking about
It's like 6 days.
maybe it's
that
maybe
are
a week
hot.
or 2. You'll have some hot days.
Yeah.
Go swimming.
Yeah, we literally just have fans going. It really is manageable. Those 6 days that we have through the summer that are kind of rough, we just are in water. So we'll go to the lake, or we'll go in the sprinkler with the kids or something. So it's manageable. So it wasn't in Florida. It was not manageable at all. And that was the one reason why we decided to move up north.
Right,
Is
and to deal
because
with
we
it.
wanted to be where we could not have AC.
Exactly.
And so we've accomplished that.
And I know how AC is, real quick, by the way. I mean, we lived in AC. It's in Florida. You're in your house living in the AC. You're like, oh, this is great. Now, quick run to the car and turn the AC on. Then you're great. And then quick run to the store, the AC on. And you find yourself not being outside.
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
more you go outside, like here in Michigan, the more you go outside without the AC, the more you want to be outside. And it's actually, you feel like you're alive more than just stuck in an air-conditioned zone all the time.
I mean, is it a little hard a couple days? It is, but it's manageable.
That's why we go sit in our car.
We go eat ice cream.
So, forgive me, I'm not going to get this name correctly, but from Music Rekit 71, I'll just call you Music. Should I buy an extra generator for my well? You might want to consider it. For us personally, again, we do have a 240 volt submersible well pump. You can actually switch it to 110, but it doesn't have the power, and it's not as energy efficient.
Oh, it's a case.
We have a couple gas generators. One's a 10,000
picture of
watt.
that.
One's a 10,000 watt.
I'll write it down.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Sorry.
One's a 10,000 watt. So I know, like when they're talking at the same time, they may not be able to hear very well. One's a 10,000 watt generator, but it's not 240. It's only 110. So if we had a really bad situation, we could always do that. But having a generator for your well is probably a smart way to go. However, I would seriously consider getting a propane one, not a gas one, and then have it so you can get like a giant propane tank from a propane company, like a 350-gallon propane tank, because that way it'll keep it running. If you have that kind of money, that's what I would suggest anyway. All right.
No, it jumped me down to the bottom. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
just.
Oh yeah, coconut amino is on your food. It's delicious. No,
They
I've never
said-
tried it, Susan.
they said it's a keto substitute for soy sauce.
Really?
But isn't soy sauce keto?
I don't know. I think it is.
If I make it fried rice, I'll.
But soy
or I
sauce itself is.
make- well, it's very high in salt.
I don't care about the salt. I don't.
I know. No, I'm just saying.
I care
don't-
about the soy, GMO nasty stuff. I hate
okay.
that part.
That is true.
George says, what do you think of the idea of spreading forageable plants in green areas locally as an emergency food source?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, in fact, there's a lot of people who live near state lands and will actually just plant stuff out in the state lands, and that way they don't have as much room in their property. But obviously, if it's in the state lands, anything goes as far as
Yeah.
somebody grabbing it. Adam says, what would be a good place to keep my food and supplies? Give me a minute, I'll give you my address.
Found it. That's where I was.
Yeah.
Did I give my address? Get that?
That's funny.
I always say have a nice, cool, dark location like a basement's always a really good place. Even if you have a crawl space, is a good idea. However, depending on how much you have, you may want to consider having alternate plans.
Well, it
because
depends on where you live too. If you live in an apartment, you're not going to have a basement. I mean, you might have to just put it under your bed.
the basement's the person who lives below you.
Yeah, it just depends on your. That's kind of a broad question. We don't. You'd have to give a little bit more detail.
I know
as far
some
as
people
that.
who have an apartment and they actually have a storage room, a
Yeah.
climate-controlled one. They
Yeah.
keep all their stuff there, and they figure if crap hits the fan, they'll just bring all the stuff back
Yeah,
to their house
that
and
is true.
walk on the cans every day.
That works.
Um,
Yeah, Whispering
From
Pine says they are local.
Dana Let's Prep, would you recommend night vision goggles for security, or would that be too much? And we're reading too much from an American series. No, I'm not saying it's too much, but it depends on what kind of night vision goggles you're looking at. Are you looking at actually getting like a FLIR? Those things are fantastic. They're super fantastically expensive though. Instead, you can actually, if you want to save a buck, for about $100, and I have a pair of these, you can get infrared night vision goggles, but they actually don't pick up like a FLIR does of like heat signatures. They literally pick up infrared radiation. But what they do though is they emit a flashlight of infrared. So as you look through them, it's kind of like a flashlight, but you can't see the flashlight hitting, and therefore things will glow as you look through it, but will still pick up infrared as well. You can get it for about $100. I love mine. And our forest here is mega creepy. We
don't
love
like ours.
We love our property, and I'll tell you, when we go on our property and we walk it or forage, which we forgot to go morel picking again, or I've got a Jeep Wrangler we'll take down our property. We cut roads into it. We love our property, and we camp out on our property reluctantly. I love being out in the woods. I grew up in the woods. I love it, but there's something about our property that's just scary.
It's scary.
So I take my night vision goggles with me, and of course I never see anything with them. There's something out there. I'm not sure what it is. All right. Anyways, yeah. So I'd recommend you at least get that. That'd be good. If you have the extra money, go for the FLIR. That's really good stuff.
SJ says, I would like to buy some binoculars. Do you have a brand or type to recommend?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, there's some really, really good binoculars out there, like Bushnell's. That's what I have. But I would actually recommend that you don't necessarily just go with a brand, because I actually have some of those ones that for your backpack that are like this. They almost really don't do anything for you. We have some really nice binoculars. But instead of actually worrying about the brand right now, how about let me do a video on this, because the actual objective lenses in there is what it's all about. If you don't have good glass, like Bushnell has good glass, by the way, if you don't have the good optics and to the right appropriations as far as the millimeters go, you actually won't see as much in there as you really think you will. So I would let me make a video on that too. I'll at least show you what I have. That'll probably help out.
Warren says, Eric, can you explain the EMP protection plug and how it works? I believe that's what they're called, LOL. you can plug your electronics into it and stop the surge. I just saw it on YouTube.
Yeah, it doesn't stop the surge, it diverts the surge. So a surge protector will make it so if you have a spike in current coming in there, it'll simply shut off. It's an electronic device. If you have too much current flowing through a wire, inside a breaker, it has what's called a bimetallic strip. Metal bends at different degrees depending on temperature. So the way it works is there's two metal strips, and when it gets hot from too much current going in there, they'll bend because one will expand and bend completely different than the other one. It'll trip the breaker. But all of that will not stop an EMP or a coronal mass ejection. What happens is an EMP shield detects the current coming in, kind of like a surge protector, but it's faster and can handle much more current. Instead of simply just shutting it off, which would cause it to arc across, it diverts it into ground, and that way it shunts all that extra current to ground so it doesn't go to your electronics in your home. They're fantastic and they work well. And I've said, if you guys, obviously, I know a lot of you guys are people we see all the time in the live streams. You heard me say this many times, but it blows my mind. Practically every week, I always have some Yahoo come on and say, we don't know how to make EMPs, and that's all speculation if they work. I mean, they really say this all, like every week I get the same comment from people. It's probably the same person.
I was going to say, same one, he just makes a new channel all the
And
time.
they're always saying, oh, you can't, EMPs are for nuclear weapons, you know that, and they can't really do that, and that's all speculation that these things are. No, that's not true at all. We can make EMPs. Our government makes EMPs now all the time. It's a very common thing. And so we can actually test it in the lab, and the EMP shield has been tested in government labs, and it works. It's not speculation, although it's really funny about EMPs. I'm not going to say the channel's name, although I would like to. This Yahoo, just a few days ago, one of the followers emailed me and said, oh, have you seen such and such laid a video on? I was like, I don't know, watch this guy at all. But he was doing like a newscast talking about how China has their new carrier coming out. This is nothing new. It's going through sea trials right now, but I knew this a year ago, that in America, our 11 carriers, 10 of them have what's called steam catapults. It literally has high-pressure steam, which pushes a piston, which pushes a jet off the end of the carrier so it can take off flying. It's like a catapult system. I mean, it is a catapult, but it's like a steam-powered catapult. But now somebody said, hey, this is smart. Since our carriers are nuclear and we have a lot of energy, why don't we actually use an electromagnetic catapult and use electromagnetism to launch the jet off the front? That's smart. So our latest carrier has this. And China copied it. Which, I mean, of course they did. There's actually a lot of people have been busted lately for espionage selling this stuff to China. It's like, and they're going to jail. It's like, what do you think is going to happen? So China, it's the first carrier they've ever truly built from scratch. And even though it's still not a nuclear carrier, they now have these electromagnetic catapults. An electromagnetic catapult to launch jets. But this guy who did this newscast was like, this is an electromagnetic catapult. You know what that means? They can now launch EMP weapons at any place they want to and take out ships with it. And I'm like, that's not that's not electromagnetic catapult. It's for launching jets, you Yahoo. And so I nicely said, you're a Yahoo. Comments. And what do you think? That's not what this is at all. Of course, he blocked me instantly.
I was going to say, sure you got blocked for that one.
Everybody's Yahoos today, by the way. That's what's going on. You guys are not Yahoos. You guys know what's going on. All right, let's see. When I lived in Michigan in the 80s and 90s, we didn't have AC, just fans in the windows. Exactly. Yep. Oh, you don't live here in Meredith, 3%er? That's too bad. I would like to say hi to you someday. Maybe you can come up for a visit.
Yeah, do you have family up here still? Yeah, no, we live in fans. Fans are our friends.
I'm actually, Hannah, I'm doing pretty well. I'm doing pretty well keeping up with you.
Yeah.
I never keep up with you.
Yeah.
But I'm doing pretty well tonight.
I scrolled all the way down to check on something.
Somebody says you're like a vast, real-life encyclopedia of vast knowledge. He is. He used to read it for fun.
I did. I still do. I love reading. I
know.
just love learning. And we had some friends over, and he was talking about, he bought this book called...
No,
it's
he's reading it.
Right, yeah. He's reading it. It's like the Great Big Book of Knowledge or something like that.
I don't know. It's a very large book.
And it was awesome, and he was like, oh, did you know this? And I was like, yeah, I knew this.
About everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Small amounts of history
It's really cool
about
stuff.
something like
It's a
that.
good book. From Del Fargus. Hello, Del Fargus. Are you talking about the YouTuber who has fighting positions dug in his yard. I don't know. Maybe. I don't watch them. How about that? Although it's kind of funny, Canadian Prepper just subscribed to our channel. Yeah.
Really?
Is that funny? Yeah, as YouTubers on our YouTube channel, it tells you every time somebody subs, and if they have a channel that's larger than like 25,000, it'll automatically flag it and let you know this person subbed to you. Canadian Prepper watches our channel.
Does he?
That's exciting. Well,
At least
he
he
subbed to it. How about that?
Oh, that's
Thanks,
funny.
Great One. I appreciate that. Oh, hold on, I just saw that question. Oh, it's not to us. Hey, Michigan Daffodil, how are you? How are
Somebody
things in your
asked,
neck of the woods?
are you predicting summer riots?
I am predicting summer riots. Wyatts, Elmo said.
Wyatt.
That's with Elmo Fudd. Summer Wyatts. I do believe that's what's going to happen. I believe, personally, we are going to see a photocopy of what we saw 4 years ago starting up all over again.
Oh, that was mess.
And the stuff that's happening in the colleges right now, I think is the beginning of that, practically speaking, it's the beginning of it. I think this is the very beginning. But at least, on a good note, this time, the police and the campuses are taking charge of it in most of the colleges now, which 4 years ago they didn't. These cities just dealt with it and said, no, it's fine. Go ahead and just set up your own independent country inside our thing. What do they call that little zone? Remember that? It's that
Stupid
independent zone.
zone.
Yeah, exactly.
People think they can get away with anything. It's
But
just
anyways, I
ridiculous.
think it's going to happen again. I really do. I think that's what we're looking at. Tammy, exactly. They're mostly peaceful. Mostly peaceful.
Yeah, we'll go with that, mostly.
Consco, Southern Prepper is good as well. Yeah, he's fantastic. Ranger. Very good.
Solar,
Thank you, Dr. W.
Solar Independent Utility Systems Manual.
I love that. I love that channel name.
Says, I'm going to do a solar experiment taking the small solar panel to a DC water pump like I heat my water, but this time to an accelerator to make power. Heard of this before?
An
Well,
accelerator? It says alternator.
I don't know.
oh, to an alternator.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Right.
What did I say?
Oh no,
Accelerator.
there's
I was
actually
like, that does not work right.
there's. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. By the way, it is election year, so now they're cracking down on them, and they didn't before because they wanted the chaos. Yeah, there's one of the solar generator companies is using alternator technology to make this happen. The biggest problem you have is if you have. I got to not read while I'm talking because I just laugh at the stuff. Ted Bundy was mostly peaceful too. Yeah, BTK was peaceful.
He had his reasons,
He was
right?
was he like a Boy Scout leader?
Yeah,
and had a
something like
family,
that.
all these things. He was a nice guy most of the time.
Most of the time.
Oh, my word.
I totally lost my train of thought now.
We're talking about the...
Yes. Okay. So if you take your solar and put it through like a DC, turning an alternator to make AC power, it works fine. However, anytime you have any type of conversion, especially mechanical conversion, you will lose power. In other words, let me put it this way. Let's say your solar panel is 100 watts, and let's say it's a beautiful sunny day, you're putting out 100 watts. Good luck with that, by the way. And you actually have a motor. When you actually put the electricity in that motor to turn that DC motor, you just lost 5 watts. Now it's down to 95. Now you put it into an alternator, which actually has a lot of load with it, by the way, because of the magnetism in there. Now you're down to 85 watts and converting it back. So basically you lose power every time you convert it any direction you want. Any direction you want. Wow, I'm sorry, Christy. I apologize. We definitely didn't want to joke about that if you actually knew somebody who was killed by him. Yeah, psychopaths are peaceful. That's the whole thing about being psychopathic is they literally have, they begin with psychosocial disease and going on from there.
Regular iodized table salt or pink Himalayan salt?
What's that one more time?
Regular iodized table salt or pink Himalayan salt?
Regular iodized table salt or pink Himalayan. Pink Himalayan has far more minerals in it. And let's forget about the anti-caking agents because people think that their iodized salt is just salt with iodine, but it almost always has anti-caking agents. And I'm not about adding a lot of that stuff to my diet. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not like, we don't completely like, I know some people do. We don't completely 100% try to rid everything. We just do our best to try to eat healthy as possible. Yeah. Pink Himalayan salt I think personally, a lot of people eat it because of the flavor associated with it.
It's true. It does have a different flavor.
It
Right,
does.
it's a flavor thing.
Yeah.
But it also has a lot of minerals and everything in it too, which is really good for you.
Yeah.
Or Redmond, yeah, same thing with Redmond salt too. Exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Or what's the third one? It's pink
Sea salt.
Himalayan,
It's not sea
Redmond's,
salt.
or no, there's a third one also. It's actually from France. Yeah, it's a French salt. I can't think what it's called. I'm sure I'll say it now. Somebody will say it on here because that's one thing about Goshen prepping people. They know everything.
Between
And it's a game to see if I can look it up.
Celtic
together.
sea salt.
Damn.
Exactly. See, you guys know everything. Thanks, Boo.
That's funny.
That's their name.
No,
I wasn't trying to like do
I
like
got
a
that,
modern
I got
lingo.
that after. I'm like, I bet that's a person's name.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think I probably have, and this is me kind of like gushing over my followers, the best followers of a channel ever. Because you guys are just like me, knowledgeable and understand things. What was that? Was that a cat?
It's,
No,
no,
that was-
it's baby.
Oh.
Just see what's going on.
I have a question highlighted if you want to ask about.
Yeah, so Consco, I think that's what it is. It's all about learning with us. And it's not about just me learning or you learning from me, but I try to actually have it go the other way around too. I love our Goshen Prepping Facebook page. It's great. And I find a lot of channels have gone into just talking about intelligence. This is what's happening over here. Now look at this and this. And that's good. Intelligence is a great thing. Personally, I don't think you should try to go off the end of like, oh, now look, pull our hair out. We're all going to die because of that intelligence. I always say, you know me, be a level head and have an absolute intelligence about what's happening there. And this is why we prep. And that's why if I talk about news, hey guys, look what's happening here. Over here, we're seeing this and this and this. Guys, this possibly could happen here, or here's the implications because of this. This is what we believe is going to happen. So this is how you prepare. This is how we prep. And I think that's the most important part. If you're a prepping channel, is that's the direction you should go.
Yeah. What? Okay. I'm
What is it?
excused. I gotta.
Baby?
Yep.
Okay. All right, Hannah gets a squeak closure then. Or maybe it's just me alone. I see another super chat from Hey You. And sorry, super chat, I didn't give your voice thing. Here, you ready? Awesome. Thanks, Hey You, for $2. Is it a big deal to eat non-iodized salt? In fact, a lot of people, I mean, if you are not allergic to iodine, or unless you actually get a lot of iodine, maybe you eat like a lot of liver and stuff, or maybe that's iron. No, it's iron. I don't know. I forgot where you get iodine
It's
from.
late.
Fish. You can get iodine in fish.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Anyway, I would still recommend you get iodized salt, but if you just get regular non-iodized salt, I don't think it's the end of the world.
Did she ask this question? The nuke meltdowns?
No.
No? Okay. Hunted Coyote says nuke meltdowns will cause an EMP? Question mark.
No, that's a great question. In fact, I had somebody ask a very good question through email, and they live really close to a nuclear power plant.
Oh, I lost it.
And ironically, Ashley and Naomi, my other daughter, went to Pennsylvania and visited a friend, and they're like, oh, look, we take pictures from the backyard. There's 3 Mile Island. And I don't mean to laugh, but I'm like, holy moly, I would not want to live. I love nuclear power. I mean, obviously, I've been an expert in nuclear power for years. The whole thing about it, I still get excited about it, but I would not live next to a nuclear power plant personally. So when a nuclear power plant melts down, and by the way, here's the biggest thing. Either they have some kind of system problem that causes the meltdown, or if a nuclear power plant loses power, well, that includes, by the way, like even backup natural gas, because what happens is the reactor goes what's called, they scram the reactor. And there's control rods. The more control rods as they drop into the reactor, it absorbs the radiation and the neutrons, which causes the reaction, the chain reaction to occur. So it absorbs the neutrons, not all of them, but enough of them to stop the reaction. That's great. However, heat. All nuclear reactors, just heat, by the way, guys. It's not electricity. The heat creates steam on a second loop, which turns turbines, and it's like old school coal plant. The actual electricity generation is exactly the same. It's just burning coal or have a nuclear fission, they both produce heat. That heat's the problem of a nuclear plant, because if we see a grid going down, the nuclear power plant needs electricity. But ironically, if the grid's down, the nuclear power plant can't just run small enough to power itself. It doesn't work that way. So they'll have to shut down the reactor and scram it fast enough if possible. They actually have backup generators, and most nuke plants have backup generators, which are like natural gas or propane, etc., that will last a certain amount of time. Why? Because they need to flush water through the reactor to keep it cool. Because even with the rods in place, unfortunately, it could get too hot without having cooling water on there. They have ways to do this, by the way. I don't want to get too much into it because the stuff I know about this is classified. But they have like ways of making it so it works even when they have very little or no power. That's great. But what happens is when it starts melting down, they actually have an excess accumulation of hydrogen gas. And the hydrogen gas continuously increases pressure until it explodes, and you usually have sparks too. And so what you have is actually a hydrogen explosion, not a nuclear explosion. It just happens to be a hydrogen explosion that pushes out all that nuclear material. And now you have nuclear material up to, it's about a 20-mile radius, by the way, you have to worry about that. So the radiation material goes out, lands on the ground, etc. You'll have ash and smoke from the fire, which can carry it further. But there's no nuclear detonation, and there's certainly no EMP. And I think that's probably one of the things I just realized people didn't know that. And I never talked about that on the channel before because I thought people kind of knew that. The best way to understand it, it's like a really big, dirty bomb. Because to understand, to set off a nuclear detonation, you have to have the engineering just right to make it work. I mean, just right, by the way, to a certain degree. And you have to have a certain amount of nuclear material as far as percentage into the core. And to make that work is very difficult. So instead, one of the things that we hypothesize or worry about is a terrorist having a dirty bomb where they just explode nuclear material. It'll never launch like a nuclear bomb. In fact, a lot of suitcase bombs are just dirty bombs anyway. And it spews out nuclear material everywhere, which obviously doesn't kill you immediately, but gives you the cancer and problems along with it. Hopefully that answers your question.
I got a smallish and older metal garbage can. It seems to be in good shape. Would regular aluminum foil work to fill in around the lid? Or
Oh, sure
would I need
will.
to buy tape?
Oh, no, aluminum foil will work. Same thing, though. Just put your phone in there and then try to call your phone from another phone, obviously, and see if it works. You'd be amazed, though. For a lot of garbage cans, you don't even have to put a foil on or aluminum tape on there. But because you see the lip of the lid going down, and usually the lids are kind of snug. If you kind of like have a snug lid on a garbage can, I'd still check with your phone. It's probably going to be okay by itself, even without having foil on there. People think they have to foil up everything. You don't. Or tape up everything. That's not the case at all.
I think I'm in the same area you are. Yeah. Yeah, because it's and it's gone.
Yeah, mine just jumped to the bottom.
In that case, Hey You gave a $2 super chat.
Hey, we saw that one.
You did right?
Yeah, I gave him
I must have walked away then.
I gave him an awesome button.
Awesome.
I gave him an awesome button.
All right, let's see questions.
I see from Janae. I apologize. I should be able to read your name and not tell you what it is. It says, what about pectin instead of iodine? Totally different buggers. When you talk about all the different types of radioactive isotopes that get into your body, one of them is radioactive iodine. And since your thyroid gland needs iodine to produce its tetraiodothyronine and thyroxine metabolism hormones, you have to have iodine for that. And if you're taking in radioactive iodine, it's accumulating in your thyroid gland, not to mention sending it through your thyroid hormones throughout your body, to make it so. It's actually a thyroid stimulating hormone through the T3, T4. This is not an anatomy physiology lesson. Anyway, you're now getting too much, especially radioactive iodine in your thyroid gland. So what you do is you really flood your body with non-radioactive potassium iodide. So that way, before you only had this much iodine, it was mostly radioactive, but now you have this much iodine with this much radioactive. The odds of getting regular iodine in your thyroid gland is huge compared to the radioactive stuff. Pectin, however, is a whole different situation. We discovered this with Chernobyl. When that plant blew, there was a bunch of kids just hanging out, munching on some apples. Everything was fine as far as they were concerned. And when everybody went to the hospitals and check-in afterwards, these kids had no signs of radioactive radiation sickness at all, none at all. And they found that it literally is that pectin from the apples is somehow absorbs radiation. It literally absorbs radiation. Potassium iodide does not do that. It kind of like blocks your thyroid gland from getting radioactive iodine. Pectin absorbs radiation. And there have been some studies about this since, but the studies have been very limited. Something about test subjects taking radiation, I'm not sure. But from what I understand, they'll even use pectin now sometimes for people who are getting radiation therapy for cancer. So something to think about. I see a super chat from Georgiana Thornton. Georgiana, our friend, how are you? Georgiana, you need a cheer button. Cheer. Yay. It's still cheering. Okay, there we go. Thanks, Georgiana, for 5. It's a super sticker. Thank you. Let's see.
I got lost in the comments. Like, did you answer what's pectin for? Wait, no, they were asking someone else. Oh. No, that's a question for someone else.
Yeah, so I guess the thing is, guys, always have a whole bunch of apples in a bag, and if you read that nukes are being sent off, throw your stuff in a Faraday gauge and start eating apples, I guess. I mean, honestly, it's probably not a bad idea.
Isn't iodine in Himalayan salt and Celtic?
I do not believe there's iodine in Himalayan salt. I'm pretty sure there is not any in there. In the Celtic sea salts, since it simply just gets its saltiness from the Mediterranean, I think it is, if I recall. No, it might be the Atlantic Ocean. I would say the iodine's pretty limited in that too. I can't tell you for sure in either one of them, but I'm pretty sure, almost positive Himalayan does not. And Celtic sea salt, I doubt it. Yeah, so yeah, pectin. Uh-oh, I see people are dogging each other through military ranks.
Oh, yeah, Marsoc Raider and somebody else are just messing around.
Okay, as long as they're okay with each other, yeah. They asked if we get to see the Northern Lights. We did, which, is really neat because for us, it's up here up north, I watch the KPs as long as it gets to the point where we see Northern Lights. I'm like, guys, Northern Lights tonight. We've had this how many times now?
Oh, my gosh.
And every time
so
it happens, it's cloudy. But this time we did. We actually got to saw it. Thank you, Dee. There's no iodine in any sea salts. Thank you. I kind of suspected that was the case. Let's see.
Like, comments are just...
Yeah, that's very fast, isn't it?
Danielle. Yes?
From Michigan Daffodil, Tucker did an interview with a lady about the truth about Lyme disease. I'd be interested in your take on it. Yeah, I didn't watch that interview with Tucker, but I do know where the Lyme disease came from. It's very... a lot of it's been unclassified now. We've talked about it on this channel before, but a Nazi scientist who literally was renowned for putting bacterial agents into ticks and then literally firing these shells full of all these disease-ridden ticks into the Russian front during World War II. And through Operation Paperclip, we brought him over and gave him, here you go, my friend, have your own Plum Island facility across the water from Old Lyme. And he literally his specialty was the tick vector using Borrelia burgdorferi as far as the bacterial agent in there. And it started out, that still is the hottest zone for it, right there where basically they even did artillery tests as well using the same thing. So more than likely, Operation Paperclip, that Nazi scientist probably started Lyme disease here in the United States. And that's what they talked about in Tucker Carlson. That's probably what it was.
Yeah. Right below that, Carla gave a $9.99 super chat.
Okay, actually, one question from Danielle. Which is better as far as radiation mesh fabric, silver or copper fabric?
Oh, you're right.
I'd never seen, I wish I could answer that for you. Both are excellent conductors. So I would bet, as long as they're grounded, both would work, practically speaking, equally well. I don't have a definitive answer for you without researching it more. But I understand. I mean, I have a physics background, and I understand the conductivity of metals and everything far better than the average Joe. So I would say more than likely they're probably just fine either way.
Did you see the question right underneath that? Chill and Penguin Army?
I think that's what I just answered, wasn't it? Okay.
No,
I just lost my spot again.
It's okay. If I'm not mistaken, I believe you once said in a video that applesauce lasts indefinitely when stored properly. Did I hear right?
That is correct. Yeah, it will turn brown and ugly looking, but it's still edible.
And then there's Carla as a $9.99.
Oh, there we go. I got that one.
Chat.
From Carla Ratton. Ratton? 9.99. Thank you. Making a Faraday cage from a metal trash can or Aminox. Are the electronics in it allowed to touch the metal? That's a fantastic question. Here's my official answer from you, from the guy I know who sets up, ready for this? This is going to blow your mind. He sets up all of the military and government installations to make sure their entire buildings are Faraday cages. And so that I had a whole list of questions for him, and that was one of the questions. So, do I need to insulate inside of my can? I know a lot of people use like cardboard in there. I use heavy duty freezer bags for mine. It's an insulator. I had some guy who didn't know what he was talking about, said, "Oh, you can't use those. Electricity will jump right through it." I'm like, you clearly don't understand this like you think you do. But anyway, I asked him about that. Do I need to keep things insulated on the inside? And he said, no, you don't have to. And this makes sense to me, by the way, that he said as long as your can's grounded, the actual ions will shunt down through the ground instead of actually affecting the devices inside. And that makes a lot of sense to me. However, I still insulate mine. It's extra. It's not going to hurt. And so everything going in my boxes, I have very heavy duty rubber / plastic type stuff. I know a lot of people use cardboard, which is fine. Any insulator, think about this. If it does not conduct electricity, then it'll work for you. Glass will work just fine too.
Intergalactic Angler says, will applesauce in a can work?
Applesauce in a can will work too. Unfortunately, however, the actual applesauce will start to interact with the can lining. So it may decrease the shelf life of the can, maybe, but it will taste metallic-y. Still edible. That's not a problem. As long as the integrity of the can was not compromised, it'll be just fine.
Oh, I lost everywhere.
Here, let's see.
I know, my thing keeps jumping me down.
Thank you, Georgiana. I appreciate that. We love you too. I'm scrolling through. I'm looking for stuff. Yeah. From my 3 girls, 28.
Oh, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, perfect. This question's asked all the time, by the way. I made a video just about this. If nuclear happens, is our food safe? Like inside a fridge or freezer in our stockpiles? Oh, it'll be perfectly fine. The only thing you have to worry about with food, period, is if fallout gets intermingled with the food. Okay, so ready? Here I have a bottle of water. This could be applesauce is the subject tonight, so it's a bottle of applesauce that I sucked through a straw. Fallout goes on here. I mean, first of all, nuclear detonation is not going to affect your applesauce. But any fallout coming on here, if you can get that fallout off there, rinse it off without going inside the bottle, it's good to go. So any sealed container that gets fallout on there, let's say you're airing out your Tupperware, you're cleaning out your fridge, and you put all your Tupperware on the front lawn. Why would you do this? I have no idea. So it's all sitting out there, then fallout falls in your Tupperware. You can rinse, nobody uses Tupperware anymore, I don't think, but like their sealable containers. If you can rinse off all that fallout off top of there, all that food inside will be perfectly fine.
I think everybody still calls them Tupperware.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that funny? It's just like one of those generic names now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as long as it doesn't come in contact with the food. If it comes in contact with the food, food's gone, you cannot eat it.
Does pink salt last as long as regular salt?
Yes, pink salt lasts just fine. All the sea salts will last just as long.
Don't see anything else until the...
Where do you recommend I keep my preps stored? I kind of mentioned it earlier, maybe you stepped away. The basement's an excellent place, or a crawl space.
Yeah.
Again, some people bury their preps. Outside, if you do that, just make sure you go below the frost line, because if not, that freezing weather will rupture your cans and stuff.
Oh, while you talk about that, I'm going to start the water.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that, Hannah. Thank you.
It has to sit for 10 minutes.
Okay, let's go on. We'll start that in a minute. I see a super chat from Sammy Lynn for $5. Thank you, Sammy. We live in an apartment in Phoenix with 4 kids under 11. How fun. You know what I'm saying? I understand where you're coming from. Including 2 nonverbals, autism. Yep. Best preps to help us survive here, other than food and water. I actually have a video out. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I probably can't. I'm probably terrible finding my own videos. Yeah, well, I found it right away. Look at that.
Wow, look at that.
It's called Trapped in the City. It's even though you may not be trapped in the city yourself specifically, it may be something you want to take a look at. Let me put a link for it down below. The biggest thing is you're going to have to look at the difference between possibly trying to get out of the city or sheltering in place. And I will tell you, guys, my recommendation is wherever you're at, sheltering in place is almost always your best bet. Because here you are. If you go out and you follow the crowd of tens of thousands of people outside the city, you are now in some stranger's neighborhood, and they're not going to take kindly to you. There's a lot of good-hearted people out there, but most people are not going to help you out and feed you at that time. You become a refugee. It's a very dangerous situation. On that same note, too, if you're in that city, you're in that apartment, even if it's like suburbs, and you're in an apartment, you need to do everything you can, long story short, without using this for the entire video tonight, not letting people know you're there. You need to put blankets or blackout curtains on the windows. You need to try to use whatever light you can from like possible lights inside. If you could possibly get a solar generator where you put the solar panels on your balcony so people don't see them. If you're preparing food, notice I didn't say cooking food. You having the canned food that doesn't require actual cooking with it is your best bet because you don't want the aromas to go out. So anything that makes it so you are as stealthy as possible inside your apartment is what you should be shooting for beside your food and water. But thank you for the $5 super chat. We appreciate it. All right, so as we're going through, I'm not sure where the red container is, Hannah, if you want to grab that also.
Yeah.
I just saw, I see a 99-cent, it's right there, a 99-cent super sticker from our friend Solar Independent People Selling Water Systems. Thank you for that 99 cents. We appreciate it, guys. Hey, you, do I know the story of Dr. Mary's monkey? I do indeed. I have not read the entire book through a big portion of it. I could possibly talk about that a little later on as far as... It's interesting. How about that? Very interesting. Cindy says, Hannah, are you doing keto too? You're looking very thin.
I'm not doing keto.
No, she's just been trying to watch what she's eating. Yeah, I can move this over here a little bit more.
Yeah, I had a lot of art classes where they're like 3 hours long. You're not allowed to have food in there, so I mean, I guess I've been like eating less snacks, maybe. So.
Yeah, snacks will kill you.
Yeah.
Scott's Life, a $10 super chat. Thank you for all the helpful information. You're welcome, Scott. And thank you for the super chat, by the way, guys. We appreciate that. It always helps our, as long as we're not discussing somebody else's monkey. Yeah, Dr. Mary's monkey. The book was good. But I will tell you, for me personally, even though it made connections there we need to look at, there's still certain connections that you have to kind of wonder how much three-letter alphabet soup agencies were involved, which they seem to be, obviously. The connection with JFK, obviously, is a big thing, too. But a lot of the stuff, connections were almost even speculative as well. So I'm not saying there isn't a connection there. I just found a lot of the stuff in there is very interesting, but I didn't find overall to be definitive. There was a lot of hearsay and hyperbole in it. I shouldn't say hyperbole, but it was definitely a fascinating book.
We want to say what we're...
Sad says, have I ever watched Monkey Works? I have watched Monkey Works. I like the channel, but I don't like the channel. I like the channel. He does excellent military information as far as what jets up in the air, things like that, which is fantastic. I personally have found that some of his military assessment is lacking. I don't knock the guy at all. He has a very great purpose, but there's things he said on there. I'm like, no, Monkey Works. That's not how it works in the military. And I know he was ex-military, but his what he's done as far as knowing military aircraft movements, top notch. But that's the only thing I'll watch with Monkey Works is military movements. There's been some other stuff that he said before. I was like, that's not how it works at all.
We want to introduce what we're
have I heard of, or do I sub Suspicious Observer? I have, Claude. In fact, I actually put. You can go and grab it.
Okay.
Oh, here's the pack.
Yeah.
I'll answer this question. Yeah, so I actually talked about Suspicious Observer a couple times on the channel, and he's talked about us on his channel too. He's fantastic, and when he talks about the solar movement and stuff, yeah, it's definitely something you should be taking a look at. All right, so we're going to stop for just a moment, guys. I totally forgot about our sponsor, which I don't want to do that. We love American Reserves. American Reserves, by the way, as Hannah's doing this, is having a BOGO sale right now, going until, it's not the end of March, but close to it. I think it's like March 23rd. So they're actually having a sale on a lot of the freeze-dried foods and everything. I was certainly taking a look at. We've already gone through their, practically speaking, their entire fruit lineup, and now that we're going through their meats and sides lineup. Now, I'm sticking with the meats one because the sides are not keto. But this one is...
Looks like.
What's this one called, Hannah?
This is stroganoff style beef.
Stroganoff style beef. So it's not beef stroganoff. There's no noodles and stuff in there, but it's stroganoff style beef. Last week we tried teriyaki chicken, and it was good, very good. I gave it a 95% rating.
Ooh,
so tonight
smells
we'll
good.
try stroganoff style beef, but we'll keep going with questions while it
Yeah, because it has to
while it
sit for 10
rehydrates.
minutes.
Exactly. I saw a question. Where do I get the heavy duty freezer bags? I just got them on Amazon. I wish I could give you a link for it. But I'll tell you, actually, I can get a link for it. If you just type in Faraday on our channel and watch the video, I link exactly what bags I use in there. I want to turn my 8x40 shipping container to a giant Faraday cage. Is this feasible? Scotty, it is absolutely feasible. In fact, that's a fantastic idea. It's a very good idea. It's really easy to seal up anything that might need to be sealed. More than likely, you want to seal up anything in there, and it should be good to go. I would still recommend, absolutely, you ground it. So get a grounding rod or two connected to it. It's always a good idea. But yeah, it should work just fine. Same thing, cell phone. I would try it out in a few locations in there, see if it rings. But it should actually work very well for you. I know some people who actually take those metal sheds. I always thought they were like from the 70s and 80s, but they still sell them today. Metal sheds where you have to put 3 million screws to put them together. And you can actually seal those up pretty nicely too as a Faraday cage as well. Oh, somebody else is talking to
Is
each
there a
other.
timer on here? Oh, I have a stopwatch. Sure, that'll work.
I'm trying to look for
Stopwatch
other
for 10
questions,
minutes.
guys. Mine jumped down, guys, so if I missed any questions, I really apologize.
It's the wrong side.
Oh, and I just saw another one. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I did see that one. We're good.
Yep, cover for 10 minutes.
Yeah, Suspicious Observer is fantastic. Really, really good stuff. And it's nice because, I love prepping and preparedness, obviously. And it's difficult for me, even though I go to the websites, by the way, it's difficult for me to actually go to the websites to watch for solar emissions. I don't need to. That is the niche for Suspicious Observer. So I can just watch him, and he gives us all the warnings on there. Plus, there's a website to go to, too, that alerts me. But those are always good channels to have when they have a very fine niche to be able to see what's happening. He does a lot of research, too, which is good.
I have no clue where you are on here because
I'm doing pretty well.
let's see.
Yeah, so for Arminius, 1 second after the book is a very optimistic speculation of how refugees will be treated. I hope so. I hope so. I was actually just listening to a podcast. I wish I could give you the name of the person. I'd never heard him before. And he was talking about this. And he's right. I'm sure there's some people on here like Marsock Raider who will corroborate what I'm going to tell you. But here's the problem. At the beginning, when you see an emergency and something happening, here's the phases. All the neighbors come out. The grid's down permanently. People on the front lawn all talking to each other. Hey, what are you doing? I got some candles. What are you doing? I got some extra corned beef hash, and they will help each other out. But unfortunately, most people only prep for like a week, maybe. Most people probably not even that long. But a lot of people have a pantry. It's not just the food, but the food and the fear and not knowing and realizing power's not coming back on, etc., will all start turning the populace into panic. That's the problem. And if they do have a situation where they're hungry, some dad who is a pretty decent dad, but suddenly now his kids, he hasn't fed them in 2 days, they're going to turn violent. That's the problem. So I haven't read 1 second after I bought the book. It is literally on my nightstand next to my bed. But I constantly read and watch things all the time. And every time I lay down in bed, I'm like, do I want to watch some documentary or do I want to start reading? I realize how tired I am. I usually watch the documentary. Anyway, so I have not started reading it yet, but it's on my list. I shouldn't say that. I have started reading it, but I've not made a priority of it. I'm very good at, by the way, at reading books halfway through and not read the rest. I'm really good at that.
I do that all the time.
But anyways, for a short amount of time, refugees, people will be hospitable to them for a short amount of time. And I will tell you, anybody who's never lived in a situation with refugees and hunger, that's where they think everything's going to be nice and hunky-dory. But like I've told Marsock Raider's seen it. I have too. In the military, I've been to a lot of third world countries, a lot of places where there's no food and people get violent, period. They get violent. You can take the most sane, normal person take away their food, especially if they have a family, and they will become the most crazy, violent people you'll ever meet in your life. And I find that most people in America don't get that. They think that, oh, some people will get violent. No, I'm telling you, violence will erupt. And the experts agree with this as well. So that's the biggest thing. So I don't know if 1 second after he realized that when he wrote the book, I don't know. I haven't gotten through the book yet. I've only read a little bit of it so far. I really say I haven't read it yet. I've read through some of it, but not very much.
Craig says, is there anything I can keep on hand for our little dog if we have a nuclear war? I mean, like for her thyroid or anything like that.
I don't know. I certainly can't give you information from like a vet point of view. I would think that, but I'm not a vertebrate physiologist. Unfortunately, I can't give you definitive real information. I would think that the potassium iodide pills would work for the dog too, but I don't know. I know dogs have an incredible amount of thyroid hormones compared to humans. Incredible amount. And I've heard of cases where people will take their dog's thyroid hormones because they ran out, and they'd have to go to the hospital because they're wigging out with so much thyroid hormones.
Oh my gosh.
Besides that, the biggest thing is you got to be careful after nuclear stuff if they're eating off the ground, because dogs like to do that kind of stuff. It's obviously very dangerous. But in just crap hits the fan situations, dogs, by the way, you'll start seeing, saw this in third world countries too, you'll start seeing amazing amounts of roving packs of wild dogs. They'll start hanging out in packs. Some of them will be nice fluffy dogs. They're like, oh, I miss my master. But some of them will start becoming violent too, looking for food. Especially with other dogs, they'll start becoming the alpha. That's something you have to get used to. That was a common thing you see in third world countries of it's just crazy roving dogs. In America, what we see is in times of crisis like that, people will be like, I can't feed my dog. So instead of actually giving it to a neighbor, they just let them go. And they start forming packs. That's what dogs naturally do.
Living on Wheels says, how can I open cans without contaminating food inside?
I guess contaminating how?
I think because you're saying because we were talking about
like fallout?
Yes, I think.
Yeah, so I'm going to speculate you mean fallout. So here's the thing. If you have a can, all right, ready? I'm going to use my planter's bag. This is a planter's can. And you get fallout in there. Fallout is not ash. It is not dirt. It's not what they picture in movies. It's glass and sand. And so if you get fallout on this bag, you can just rinse it off, get it between the cracks. A can's much easier, obviously. Possibly even tear the label off. And that can's not contaminated anymore. There's nothing on there. You can open it and you'll be just fine. You're not going to contaminate the contents inside there. If you do want to make sure there's like a bacterial agent, for example, or some type of biological agent on there, you're going to want to use the 90% isopropyl or what's the other rubbing alcohol, and not the 70%. 70% is good for sanitizing your skin. 90% sanitizes materials and tables and such. But if you do that, then the can can be opened up without any problem.
It's funny. I can tell where we are when we're at this point and going through the.
Oh yeah,
comments, because people are like, and now
question you just read, yeah.
A word from our sponsors. I'm like, oh.
That's funny.
I put a plate over the bowl to keep. Yeah, that's what I usually do, but for some reason I grabbed the lid. So.
Yeah, guys, we're going to do this. We're going to eat this food. We're going to be done in just a little over 5 minutes. We're hitting my max for the night. I'm literally having trouble focusing. I can't even see very well.
Yeah.
But we'll keep going for a little bit. See if there's more questions.
Let's see. Solar Independent says, question. How often would you rotate the flooded lead cell batteries in a battery bank? Of course, testing with a load tester along the way, checking for bad cells. So how often would you rotate?
Oh boy, I don't know. I honestly, years ago, I used to do all that stuff and check with a hydrometer and look at the sulfuric acid levels and stuff. I wish I remembered that information. I don't, unfortunately. I don't know. It's because we have the sealed batteries now. Not saying you can't do it with a sealed battery. Obviously you can, but I don't know. I just don't have that information. I wish I did. I apologize.
You said, would you like a copy of Solar Independent Utility Systems Manual? Free?
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah. I'm always for free stuff reading through. Have I ever heard of BWXT Nuclear Technologies, formerly Babcock and Wilcox Naval Nuclear in Virginia? If so, what chance do you think they have of getting hit from a nuclear strike? I don't know them specifically. I know a lot of I do. And surprisingly, I know way too much as far as like nuclear companies. Not to mention, I actually have I gotta be careful saying this. A very personal relationship in the past with like skunk works and stuff. If you guys know those, that blow your mind. But I don't know them, which kind of surprises me. But anyways, I'll tell you right now, if they're naval nuclear, they're probably close to Norfolk, I'm guessing. And what a chance they'll be hit with a nuclear strike? Very good. You know, if they're actually anywhere near there, especially having any type of nuclear connection, those are one of the things on the top of the list of being in the nuclear arsenal, for example, of Russians. I always say Russians because the amount of nuclear weapons they have is incredible compared to the amount of China. China really doesn't have as many as you think they do.
Justice says, is there a material you can put in between the rafters of your basement ceiling to stop radiation?
No.
No.
The problem, I mean, is there? Yes, there is. But the problem is people don't understand how much material you really need to stop radiation. The best thing to get it, because we're talking about like what's called halving, you actually put plates in there, but you need total 1.3 feet of lead to stop radiation. You need, 6 feet of concrete, I think it is, something like that. And people will say, "Oh, I just put earth down." The concrete is like 4 times as efficient as the earth. So you need, I'm not kidding you, like 24 feet of dirt to stop radiation.
Tell me how dense it is.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, exactly. But here's the thing. So if you're trying to put something in the rafters of your house, your basement or roof, whatever, the best thing you can have is lead. And could you imagine putting 1.3 feet of lead as a barrier anywhere in your house? Just doesn't work very well, unfortunately.
Can keto help with memory or focus?
Can what?
Keto help with...
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so I've actually had a lot of medical problems, and keto has cleared a lot of it up. It blows my mind how well it works. Have you heard of robodogs with a flamethrower attachment? Yep. Is that an accident waiting to happen? Yeah, probably. It's still cool. I love technology, and right now the Marines are testing out using actual weapon-loaded robots to go into the battlefield, which blows my mind that they're actually looking at doing that. But obviously, that's the thing, is you can't invent something without the military using it, especially for the fact that DARPA is the one that actually invents a lot of that stuff in the first place.
It's funny. Someone said the answer to all electrical and radio questions is, it depends.
It depends. Let's talk about that for a minute. Yeah, Tesla was 33 feet below ground for a reason. Exactly right. Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. Oh, wow. Worked on the SR-71. Ooh, that's impressive.
Sure.
And the thing is, when I worked on all that stuff, I loved it. It was just, I never thought of, and I think that's the problem with today's scientists. They don't think of the ramifications of working on those things. And by the way, the stuff we're working on today is classified. I'm cool with that. This is just cool, Some of the things I've seen, even just like with my physics background and stuff. But now I'm like, yeah, the stuff we're doing, we shouldn't be doing it. But, of course, there's some things we should be also. Is it ready, Hannah?
I believe it's been 10 minutes.
Okay, guys. So we are trying not Planters Peanuts. And actually, what's cool about this beef is keto.
They said it cut off the microphone last time, so.
Okay. So we have Stroganoff style beef.
No, it cut off the microphone.
Oh, so they can't hear me.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Stroganoff style beef. It has 1 gram of carbs. The whole pack is 4 grams. That's fantastic. And looking at the ingredients on it, has really good ingredients. It does have some canola oil, which I prefer not to have, but that's okay. Sour cream, has butter, it has mushrooms.
It has sour cream?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
And the number 1 ingredient is beef.
Well, let's hope so.
I know, but you never know. Well, with American Reserves, here, ready? Here's my ad thing. With American Reserves, you do know what you're getting. It is quality food inside a red container. Yes. And again, they do have a sale on this stuff going up until, I'm pretty sure it's March 23rd. Did you already try it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
You just go like,
I'm just going to take a big crumble of it here. All right, here we go, everybody. Whoa. 2 thumbs up. I give this one 100%. That is happiness right there. I apologize for talking while I'm eating, but this is good. The teriyaki chicken, I give it 95%. I give this 100%.
You know, it's funny because I would actually give this one more 95. But I think that's just because I'm more of a chicken person. Yeah, you can sit there and eat the rest of that. That's fine. The last time I just sat there eating the chicken.
not freeze-dried chicken, just eating a chicken.
It's good though. I like it.
Sorry, Carly. Yeah, May 23rd. Yeah, it's a great sale. Ended 2 months ago. Yeah, May 23rd. I apologize.
It's still off. Take just a little nibble.
This is delicious. Oh, man. Man. Somebody said you hate it.
Still at P.O. Box 333.
We sure are. Yeah, so Hannah, I'm not kidding you. I don't care if it's a sponsor or not. We are 100% honest. Somebody said you hate it.
Oh, no, I do like it. No, I like the chicken better. And I think that's just different. I like the chicken better, but no, it's really good.
It's almost time to go anyway, and I'm going to be happy about that because I'm going to eat. I don't even need to eat. This is good. I guarantee Ashley's going to have some of this too, so I better hide it.
She'll come out, she'll smell it. She's like, where is it?
Oh my gosh. I could eat this all day long. You have to talk, and I'm eating food right now.
Oh, speaking of. And then, cats are nice. Meow. I love the names on here. Gave a $4.99 super chat. If crap hits the fan in neighborhoods, when do you think it will occur? Thank you for sharing your knowledge.
That's a great question, by the way. Excuse me, I'm going to drink a little bit of water first.
What is... Oh, I love the name. There's the odd names you read through. These are hilarious.
All right, when it comes to crap hitting the fan, you really have to try to define what that really means. Because are you talking about a total economic collapse? Are you talking about us falling into major war, etc.? And unfortunately, it is a gradual thing. I believe we're already seeing the beginnings of it. And I'll also tell you right now that what we're seeing is inevitable. Our economy is going to crash. How much will that pull us into crap hits the fan? It's really difficult to say. But I believe this year we will certainly see some of the effects of starting to kick in with this. That's what I think, though. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I could be wrong. But if you're asking my opinion, I think we're going to start seeing it this year. The next couple years for sure, because we can't sustain our economy, at the very least, the way it is going right now. And since we see war picking up around the world, at the same time, economies are crashing, not just ours, but China's too, and Japan. It is not a good mixture. Does that taste better or the same as Mountain House, Nash? You know, I wish I could tell you. It's been honestly a couple years since I've had Mountain House. But I will tell you, I don't remember ever eating Mountain House and just having that happiness hit my tongue before. So in my opinion, I think it's better than Mountain House. Her opinion, she likes eating chickens. Apparently.
I don't remember what Mountain House, which one that was. Was that the one that we made pizza with?
Uh-huh.
Yeah? I like their fruit for that, but that's also because I haven't tried a lot of their fruit
Yeah,
for
that's
this
true.
one.
Yeah.
Like, they had good pineapple.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there was a... What brand of food are you sampling?
Oh,
We
yeah.
are sampling American Reserves. They're the patriotic long-term survival food. It's freeze-dried food.
Oh, yeah, so that's their sale, by the way. May 23rd, not March 23rd. May 23rd
Yes.
is their long-term survival food. They got a bunch of stuff, though. Like, I've got a bunch of emergency crank radios. I'm a tech nerd. I really am. I love them. They're just... I actually turn them on as leaving the house, and you hear music in the back. It reminds me of like what it must have been like in the 40s, where it's like very low-quality sound, like my green piece of junk radio. That's not a piece of junk. It's a good radio, but it's just not high-quality sound.
Yeah.
But we'll turn it on the radio and just put it off the side, just listen to it. But then when I got this one from American Reserves, I looked at it and was like, I don't know. But once I turned it on, it was like, oh, this sound is incredible.
Yeah.
For a crank radio. They have a lot of good stuff. I like American Reserves, and I'm really glad they're a sponsor of ours. Let's see. Yeah, that's exactly it. Knight Who says, nee. It is a long process. And I think, honestly, if we're looking at the orchestrated aspect of crap hits the fan, that's what they want as a long process, because they know if they make it all at once, we're in big trouble.
They said, is that supposed to be a soup? No, it's what it is. You're just supposed to rehydrate it with water, and then we just don't bother to drain it out when we try it. So.
Right. So here's what it is. This pack right here is their meats and sides. So let's say that you are going backpacking, camping, bug out bag, get home bag, etc. You put like one of the meats and one of the sides in there, and so that way you can reconstitute it as you're trying to get home, like a get home bag. But I didn't do the sides because the sides are like rice and stuff, and I'm on keto right now. I'm not saying we won't have it. Maybe just have Hannah try it sometime. But right now we've been going through the meats. We went through their fruit series a few weeks ago, and now they're going through the meats. They have Southwest style chicken, roasted chicken, stroganoff style beef,
Cheesy beef.
teriyaki style chicken, and cheesy ground beef. Hannah goes,
And savory roasted beef.
is that in here?
That's over here on this side.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hannah goes, earlier today, she's like, ew, cheesy ground beef. I said, that sounds good to me.
I don't like cheesy and beef unless it's a cheeseburger.
Yeah. All right, anyways, so guys, sponsors are good. We always enjoy it. They help us out. And guys, we also appreciate all the super chats coming in.
Yes.
But in reality, I really just enjoy you guys being here. I really look forward to the live streams, especially like on a Sunday, getting a lot of stuff done and getting ready to start the work week per se. I like spending with you guys. That's why we're here. So guys, we appreciate you being here. We thank you for everything. Real quick from Chillin' Penguin Army. I know this last week. Do you see an event or series of events causing damage to the election? That's what everybody talks about. I'm not saying no. I'm certainly not saying no. But I think when it comes to the election, I think they're a little more crafty than having an event just simply trying to stop it because that's going to prolong it. It's kind of like, when you see something happen with the economy and they'll close the stock market for a couple of days, they have to be really careful because when they restart it back up again, it'll still cause the problem. So if for some reason we see a major problem with this causing problems in elections, when the elections come back up again, people will keep that in mind. All right, guys, appreciate you being here. I'm going to go off and eat some more of my stroganoff style beef. We will be live again next week, right? Yeah, I think next week.
No, I thought next week we couldn't.
You're right. Next week we are not live. Exactly right.
Yes.
So anyway, not next week live. See, my brain's trying to mess up. We're not live next week, but the week after we will be.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you for our regular video tomorrow.
Yep, we'll do.
We appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody. We'll see
Bye,
you
everyone.
tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Bye.